Conservatives. Up to 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Look, I hate to disagree so openly with Patrick Harvie, but this is a parliament and there is such a thing as political accountability. The situations that we're discussing today lead on inexorably from political decisions and priorities. And for us to ignore that and somehow seek to deconstruct the issue, to somehow hide behind some fake unanimity in this chamber about where culpability lies, I think would not be honest of many of us. And, you know, at the end of the day, I would appeal to Patrick Harvie on the issue of the national investigation as well, because you can't divorce culture from any operation, whether we're talking about the design and delivery of maternity services or any other subject. When it comes to the actual execution and delivery of anything, culture is at the very heart of whether it succeeds or not. And so much of what we have said in the debate this afternoon comes down to an issue of culture and what that has as an impact on the way that services are being delivered. I will give way.
Patrick Harvie.
I'm grateful to the member for giving way. It sounds as though he thinks I've just argued against a national investigation. I have argued very clearly in favour of it, and I want the government to say that they are in favour of it as well. That's what I want to hear, and I will hold the government to account as much as anybody else in this chamber if they make that commitment. That's the commitment I want to hear.
Stephen Kerr.
And I respect what Patrick Harvie has just said. Brief,
Jackie
yes.
Bailey.
Brief.
Would he acknowledge that in reading the government's amendment, it says if, not it will? It's if.
Stephen Kerr.
I think it's now impossible for the Minister to change the wording in the government's amendment. And therefore, I would appeal to Patrick Harvie to join with others in this chamber who are going to demand, I think correctly, rightly, a national investigation into maternity services in Scotland. And I hope he will consider the importance of this to so many people, including people that are here present with us in the public gallery today. And I would like to thank everyone who's spoken in the debate, but I would specifically like to mention something that Willie Rennie said, because he rightly mentioned duty of candour. Now, yesterday, in a related matter, I wrote to the First Minister about the Public Office Accountability Bill, the Hillsborough Law, which is an important part of enshrining. It's going to enshrine duty of candour into law. And I'm asking the Scottish Government to bring forward an LCM that would mean that all of the provisions of that bill would apply to Scotland, including the right to legal representation and legal aid for families who are impacted by service failure. And I think we all know why it's called the Hillsborough Law. That bill is introduced in the House of Commons in September, does seek to establish the statutory duty of candour, and it is also about guaranteed parity of arms when it comes to legal representation, as I've said. And it has real implications for everything we're talking about right here and now, because it's not just about legal change, it's about a culture change in our public services, one that affirms truth-telling, transparency and responsibility, with an expectation on those who will hold public office to adhere to the Nolan principles, not just as a concept, but in practice. So I would also say, in relation to the national investigation, in relation to what Willie Rennie said, that he mentioned how important it is that someone from outside of the system be involved in that national investigation. I think that's so important, because some of the things we're talking about today are, by definition, systemic. And therefore, to understand the system, sometimes, frankly, you have to step well outside of the system. You have to have someone who doesn't, if I may coin a phrase, have a dog in the fight, to look at this fairly and squarely, in a way, without prejudice, without bias. And so I hope that when we do get this national investigation, because I hope we will vote for it tonight, that there will be an outside of the system element to the leadership of that investigation. Other colleagues have spoken about all kinds of things. I thought Michael Mara's comment about 9 wells. Let's not lose sight of the fact that when HISC did its initial investigation and published its report, they went back to 9 wells to discover what? They discovered that not much had been done. Not much progress had been made. That is the issue that demands the national investigation. That's why we have to talk about culture in the whole. And that's why tonight this Parliament must instruct the government to get on with the delivery of that national investigation. Nothing goes to the heart of our conscience as parliamentarians, or as Scots even, if I may put it as broadly as that, than the safety of mothers and babies. And what we have heard today, what we have read in recent weeks and months in relation to the reports, documentation that's accompanied the work that's been done in Edinburgh and in 9 wells is indefensible. In Edinburgh...
Mr Kerr, please bring your remarks to close. You're over your time.
Well, let me just conclude by saying, again, I urge all of us as parliamentarians with a duty to our constituents to support the motion as it will be amended. But let us act, not posture. Let's make things better. Let's not hide behind the inconvenient myths that we sometimes tell ourselves.
Thank you, Mr.
Let
Kerr.
the safety of women and babies in Scotland be something
Thank you, Mr.
that
Kerr.
doesn't wait another day.